If you're a Mobilian or you're just maybe even from out of town, maybe I can tell you something a little bit new about the causeway that you didn't know. So check this out. Our destination today is a little area right outside Spanish Fort on the Mobile Causeway. So if you're native to Mobile, Alabama, the causeway is pretty much just a highway that connects Baldwin County and Mobile County. There's not a lot of elaborate things to see. So would you ever think that it could have been home to an elaborate island resort? Well, that actually happened. In 1956, an architect by the name of Bertrand Goldberg decided that he wanted to design an island resort on the causeway. This guy had designed major resorts, things like the Marina City in Chicago. So Bertrand Goldberg gets together with a guy named John Atwood, who at the time was an engineer for NASA. And these guys get together and decide to come up with a futuristic concept for a new resort. This resort was to have a Howard Johnson, a Holiday Inn, an Olympic-sized pool, and just lots of amenities for tourists from out of town to stop in and book a stay and have fun. The plans featured an Olympic-sized swimming pool, a second pool with diving platforms, and a circular structure all the way around to provide shade for the guests. So in 1956, this place would have been hopping. Imagine people swimming, having fun, laying out by the pool, right off the side of the causeway that goes between Mobile and Spanish Fort. So being such a great concept, they started building the structures. They got the full circular structure built, and they brought in starting blocks for the Olympic swimming pools. But as things seemed to get up to speed, within a year they were bankrupt and everything halted. So what happened to the stuff they did build? Well, it's all still there, just abandoned. And that's where today comes in. We decided to drive down to the causeway and check out what's left of this place for ourselves. As you enter in, there's no grand entrance or anything like that to this. It's kind of just a basic driveway as you head in. It's interesting because this was once intended to be an island resort community, and now it's basically just a waterfront neighborhood. Normal people live here and not a lot of traffic coming or going. But this structure stands right in the middle of this neighborhood just as it was built in 1960. The concrete canopy stands in its circular structure just as it was designed back in 1956. The construction of this is incredible because it's been there for 60 plus years and has withstood multiple hurricanes. You can see that the Olympic-sized pool is still intact, even though it's been drained and it's overgrown, but the concrete structure is still there. Both pools were put in place. You can see where the diving boards were, and you can imagine people diving off the diving boards and swimming. And you can see what the design was originally intended to be. I'm no architectural engineer, I'm certainly not a construction expert, but the way this thing was built is very impressive. Modern day buildings are generally built of lightweight material, lightweight metals and aluminums and things like this. This thing was solid concrete. With the construction of this being in 1960, this has withstood multiple major hurricanes. One of those being Hurricane Frederick in the 70s, and another one being Hurricane Katrina in the early 2000s. So it's seen its share of severe weather and severe elements, and it still stands. So, being a native of Mobile, Alabama, most of my life, I've driven the causeway hundreds of times, I'm sure, and never even realized that such a structure was literally right here. Uh, to drive by it on the road, you would think this is just a barn for heavy equipment and tractors. You would never know, unless you did your research, what this was intended to be once it was first built. So, next time you drive the causeway, and you pass what looks to be just a heavy equipment yard full of scrap, know that at one time this was supposed to be a resort and a tropical paradise, and it just never made it. I hope you enjoyed this, and as always, thanks for watching.